Let's get your top story that we are following very closely. Cyclone Michaung, in which 5 people have died in rain-related incidents in Chennai. Michaung is about 25 kilometers from Nellore, 20 kilometers from Kavali, as well as about 200 kilometers from Chennai, 170 kilometers from Machilapatnam, and about 110 kilometers from Bapatla, which is where landfall is expected just before noon. Now, Chennai remains submerged due to heavy rainfall under the impact of that cyclone. Heavy inundation has been reported from low-lying areas. Like we mentioned, 5 people have died in Chennai. The airport remains closed. Do remember that the airport was shut down yesterday. They said that they'll open at 11 o'clock at night. But now we do know that the airport remains closed and it's going to remain closed till about 9 o'clock this morning. The cyclone is expected to make landfall between Nellore and Machilapatnam. But it's going to continue to impact Tamil Nadu. So schools, colleges, government offices, they remain shut. The government has appealed to private companies to let employees work from home instead. When we talk about the landfall, we mentioned it's going to happen just before noon. Storm surge is expected to be 1 to 1.5 meters. That's expected, which basically means that it's going to inundate low-lying areas when it comes to the coastal belt of Andhra Pradesh. When we talk about the areas which are going to be impacted the most, that means Bapatla and Krishna districts. Those are the areas. So Guntur district and Krishna district is going to be impacted the most when it comes to this cyclone. It's expected to make a landfall as a severe cyclone, and it's going to be packing in winds which could be gusting to about 110 kilometers per hour. So the areas of concern include Tirupati, Nellore, as well as Bapatla, like we know, Krishna, of course, that district, West Godavari, as well as Kakinada, and in Puducherry, Section 144 has been imposed in the coastal areas, restricting movement till about 6 o'clock in the evening, and people from low-lying areas have been evacuated. There are about 300 relief camps that have been set up in Andhra Pradesh. Well, when we talk about the Met Office is saying that very heavy showers are expected. Just take a look at these are live pictures coming in. You can see the kind of destruction that this storm has brought about, and it's far from landfall. When we talk about Tamil Nadu especially, over 24 hours. In fact, it's been almost 48 hours now, the kind of rainfall that's been recorded, and it's very uncommon for a cyclone to make this kind of impact in an area while it stays at sea. Do remember, it hasn't crossed land, it hasn't made landfall, it's far from it right now, and it's not even the area where landfall is expected. Landfall is going to take place in Andhra Pradesh, so it's far from Chennai. So this is extremely uncommon. Let's just go across to my colleague Pratibha, who's joining us from Vijayawada, to get us a sense of the kind of destruction this cyclone is bringing about. We do know, Pratibha, that 5 people have died in Chennai because of the heavy rainfall that has been recorded. Take us through the preparedness as far as the storm is concerned by the authorities there, and the kind of rainfall that you've seen, say, in the last few hours.
Well, in fact, in Andhra Pradesh, yes, precautionary measures are in place, considering what has really happened in Tamil Nadu, the way the cyclonic storm has wreaked havoc there. And I'm stationed at Vijayawada, which is around 100 kilometers away from the actual place of landfall, which is near Bapatla. And the landfall is expected at around 11 a.m. according to weather experts here, and they say that the impact of it will last for at least around 2 hours. 8 districts, like you mentioned, are on red alert, and around 181 relief camps have been set up across these districts in and around the coastal areas. People from the low-lying areas have been shifted to these relief camps, around 8,000 people that they are talking about. All of them have been safely shifted to these relief camps. A lot of food and beverages as well as blankets have been provided, medical facilities that have been set up. NDRF teams and SDRF teams are on high alert there to find out whether there would be any kind of rescue and relief operations that will be needed. But for the next few hours, it is definitely going to be an edge of the seat kind of situation in Andhra Pradesh. Yes, incessant rains that have been witnessed in and around, like in Vijayawada, right since last evening there have been incessant rains. But this will continue. Heavy to very heavy rains expected for the next 24 hours at least. It's only by this evening that we will know the impact of the storm and the kind of damage that it would have left behind here in Andhra Pradesh. So a lot of these measures are put in place, but all of them are waiting to see when the landfall is expected. Right now, the time is around 11 a.m. is what the weather experts tell us.
Right, Pratibha. So, the kind of rainfall that the Met Office has said, that especially in the coastal belt of Andhra Pradesh, we're expecting very heavy showers to the tune of 300 to 400 millimeters. When we take into account the kind of destruction that this cyclone has brought about, visuals on our screens, let's go across to Sam Daniel joining us from Chennai. Sam, 5 people have died in rain-related deaths. The state has been very prepared. The city especially has been very prepared in order to keep the situation under control. But clearly, this kind of damage of a cyclone which still was brewing at sea, it's very close to the land, but it hasn't made landfall. That landfall is only going to take place from where Pratibha is reporting. Take us through the kind of damage that you've seen as far as Chennai is concerned.
Well, the good news is over the last 8 hours, there's been no rain in Chennai since the cyclone has moved away from Chennai heading towards Andhra coast. And Met Office doesn't forecast any major or heavy rainfall to Chennai. So in that sense, it's a huge relief. We come to you from a location at Alvarpet in Chennai, and even after 8 hours of rain stopping, this is what you see. People actually wade through waist-deep or knee-deep waters at various points on this stretch here. This area is closer to Chief Minister M.K. Stalin's residence, and it's this kind of challenge that's going to take a long time for authorities particularly to pump these waters out. And in terms of electricity, in fact, over the last 24 hours, no power supply in several pockets of Chennai, most pockets of Chennai. But as we speak now, authorities say that 80% of power supply has been restored. By 8:39 this morning, they say 100% in Chennai will be restored, and then they will start working at attending individual complaints of power disruption. So power supply is being gradually restored. Perhaps by late this evening it could be largely on. But still, authorities say the challenge is in restoring power supply in low-lying pockets outside Chennai, in areas like Mudichur, Perumbakam, Siruseri on the IT corridor. There still around 4-foot deep waters continue to be inundated there, and unless that water is pumped out, authorities feel it's not going to be safe to restore power supply. The extent of damage is yet to be assessed, and that will emerge only after waters recede, because in several areas, low-lying areas, waters have entered homes, and that's going to be huge losses. Also, hundreds of cars parked inside apartment complexes which got inundated have been badly damaged because they were either washed away or waters entered the cars, and that's another major challenge. M.K. Stalin, the Chief Minister, in a statement last night said hundreds of electricity department workers have been mobilized from other neighbouring districts to expedite the restoration of power supply to clear the inundation, and people have been advised yet again to remain indoors, to let waters recede, and to step out only if it's absolutely essential. And it's a public holiday. Schools, colleges and government offices are shut. What do you see? Again, people wading through well above knee-deep waters in this stretch, and that's the major challenge. And authorities say if the rains don't resume in 12 hours, the core of Chennai would be inundation free, will not be waterlogged. But they're deploying more than 500 giant motor pumps to pump out waters from low-lying areas, and that's going to take a long time. But several questions are also being asked in terms of the efficiency of the storm water drains the ruling DMK had built over the last 2 years, claiming that will eliminate flooding. Did they do a shoddy job? Was it completed on time? They had 2 years to finish, and these are questions being raised. But authorities say even a fully functional, efficient system will not be able to handle this kind of heavy rainfall. They say you're talking about 29 centimeters of rain in 24 hours, and no system will be able to handle that kind of that quantum of rainfall in a city. Blame it on climate change impact, blame it on collapsing infrastructure. It's going to be a nightmare for people, and slowly Chennai is resuming, but it's going to be a huge loss in terms of damages.